If you want a plan for the future, we can help your dreams come true. A degree that gets you the right job. It's affordable and easy for you. Asnuntuck Community College. Friendly people that know who you are. Asnuntuck Community College. A college so close that can take you so far.
Hello, and welcome to Asnuntuck Changing Lives. I'm your host, Tim St. James, Interim Dean of Students at Asnuntuck Community College. I think it's safe to say that our new and returning students had a different experience as we welcomed back our folks to the college campus for the 2017 fall semester. The college has completed not one, but two major construction projects that have had a very positive impact on the campus environment. And I think we have some photos that I'd like to show and share with our viewers. And if we could cue those up at this point. But first, just a couple weeks back on September 13th, we held a ribbon cutting event to showcase our new entryway, tower, lobby, and student center. This new area includes a cafe, student organization offices, a new bookstore, game room, lounges, comfortable spaces for students in the public to study and congregate. So in just as you can see in that photo right there, sort of an aerial view looking down upon the new bookstore and conference space as well. But in just the first month of class, I can see that this area has become a new hub of campus activity and student engagement. And then next, back in June, we celebrated the opening of a brand new 27,000 square foot advanced manufacturing technology center as well. And I think we have some of those photos I'd like to share with our viewers. And if we could move to the next one, there we go. So yeah, this new facility includes smart classrooms, 3D printing capabilities, CNC machining, metrology laboratories, expanded equipment that will help meet the needs of students, employers, and the economy of the state of Connecticut. So we're very excited about this. But both construction projects will help Asnuntuck to attract and accommodate greater numbers of students in the semesters to come. But what I'd like to talk about today, and possibly maybe less noticeable, but equally significant to help retain those newest students we're going to attract, are two software programs that the college is using to help students stay connected and stay on track. And those two programs are called DegreeWorks and Starfish. So today my guests and I are going to talk about these programs and let you know and highlight the impact they've had on the college community. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the guests I have with me this evening. And starting immediately to my left, we have Jill Rushbrook, who's our Director of Advising. Raven Lopez, who is a student in her second year, if I'm not mistaken, yes, studying liberal arts at the college, the current student, so thank you for being with us. And Diane Clokey, the college registrar. So we're going to talk about all of these initiatives, but I'd like to start with you, Diane, to really launch into talking about DegreeWorks and what that is. So, but first, could you tell our viewers a little bit about your role at the college and your tenure and things that you're responsible for?
Sure. I've been at Asnuntuck for a little over 2.5 years now. The registrar's office is responsible for maintaining student records and keeping them secure. We also register students for classes, obviously. We maintain the schedule of classes, and we also qualify students for graduation.
Excellent, excellent. So tell me and tell us all about what is DegreeWorks and what is this program and how can it be used to help students achieve their academic goals?
So DegreeWorks is a software package that's being used at a lot of colleges around the country, and it's really an interface with those student records that I just referred to so that students can see their progress as they're moving through their academic program. So they can see the grades that they've earned, the requirements that they've already met, the requirements that they still have outstanding. They can make sure that they've taken enough credits at Asnuntuck, because you have to take a certain number of credits with us and you can transfer in others. They can email their faculty member rate from that site, their advising faculty member rate from within DegreeWorks, and they can also play around a little bit with changing their major and what their coursework would look like in a different major.
Excellent. So how, if I'm a student and I want to use DegreeWorks, how can I access it?
So the student information portal, where they can go to do a lot of things, register, access their email, access other Blackboard, which is our support for online courses. They can access all of that through their MyComNet account, and DegreeWorks is very prominently displayed within that MyComNet account. And they'll see that DegreeWorks logo. And once they click on that, they're automatically inside their audit. So they'll be able to see all of what I just referenced right there within their audit.
Excellent. Okay. So I imagine, an initiative to implement a software package like this isn't a simple plug and play kind of thing. It involved a lot of work. So could you walk us through sort of what that process was like and at Asnuntuck, and is this something that's happening system-wide, or is it just local at Asnuntuck?
Yes, the Connecticut State Colleges and Universities all have implemented DegreeWorks over the course of, I think we began, the very first pilot group started the summer of 2015. Asnuntuck's cohort began in October of 15, and we started introducing it to students and faculty advisors this spring in 17. We got the two, the database and the software package talking to each other, and now students are able to access that data through that software.
Excellent. So we had to actually build and create what was in the past sort of, either in paper form in the college catalog or degree sheets, kind of create those virtually so students could in real time see how they're progressing through in basically what is a degree audit. So that's fantastic. What do you feel, or can you maybe tell us what that rollout process was like? So it got approved and we did all this hard work to kind of get it up and running, but then once we kind of, were able to flip the switch and say we're going live, what was that like, and how did we get people involved in using this?
Well, I think you start off slowly. You start to introduce it to faculty members that you know are comfortable with technology, students who are working in our offices adopted early, and then you ask them to start talking about it. We have posters up, we have handouts and all of those sorts of things. New student workshops, Jill and some of her colleagues were able to introduce it at a technology session. So new students don't know anything different. So that's sort of how things get adopted at colleges. New students take them on as if they've always been there, exactly. And then in a few years it'll be like we never didn't have it.
That's great. Good. And what do you feel are the best features of this program? Are there features that, possibly we hope to utilize more as people become more comfortable in using it semester after semester?
Well, the degree audit is easy because it's right there served up to you. One of the things I'm most excited about that's going to take a little bit more time for people to adopt, I think, is the student educational planner. But it will allow students and faculty advisors to sit down and plan their entire college career basically from that first meeting. So they can get all that kind of mechanical stuff out of the way. It doesn't mean they can't come back and change it or even reconsider what major they're in, but for that moment they've got that roadmap from the very beginning of their program until they're ready to graduate, and they can see what that looks like. It's tangible.
That's excellent.
And that gives them time to work with faculty on other things. They can start more of a mentoring relationship. So every semester when they come back, they touch base with the faculty member. The coursework piece is pretty much in place, so they can talk more about things like internships and moving into the field of their choice or transferring onto a four-year institution.
Excellent. So yes, absolutely, like you say, to have that quality time to work with an advisee and really get to know them and know what they're looking to do, whether they're looking to transfer or get prepared for the workforce. You can spend more time on those types of quality conversations and not be bogged down with the nuts and bolts of the prescriptive, here's class X or A, B, C, and you have to take in this certain sequence. But that educational planner sounds like it will be great for students in sort of enhancing some of the work that Jill in your office does. So I think that might be a natural transition over to talking about this other program called Starfish. So Jill Rushbrook, our Director of Advising, could you tell us a little bit about your role at the school and tenure and your experience at Asnuntuck?
Sure. I've been at Asnuntuck for a little over 7 years, and prior to becoming the Director of the Center for Advising and Student Achievement, I was the transfer counselor and also did a little bit of career counseling and dabbled in Title IX as well, but definitely did a lot of academic advising, and right now in my role as the director, I also oversee Starfish, which is a retention software and is meant to help students be successful every step of the way while they're at Asnuntuck.
Great. So you could use, in working with students, the DegreeWorks piece as well, but now tying that in with Starfish, you have just basically another tool in your toolbox, for lack of a better term. So can you tell us how you feel Starfish will help with student success at the college?
Yeah, so it's funny, the name Starfish, people wonder why that it's called Starfish, and there's a story about a boy on the ocean, and there's a lot of starfish washed up on the shore, and the story goes that the boy throws one starfish in the ocean, and an old man sees him doing this and says, "You're not going to be able to save all these starfish." And he said, "But if I can save just one." And that's the whole premise with Starfish, is to really retain students, pretty much, make sure that they're successful, along with just making sure they're successful with their academics and knowing where they're headed with their degree and their certificate completion. Faculty can use Starfish to provide feedback to students. It's primarily a vehicle for communication. So, and I'll use Raven as an example, but if Raven's missing an assignment, which she never would because she's an excellent student, if she was missing an assignment in the class, an instructor could say, "Hey Raven, we're missing this assignment," and she would automatically get a notification, not only in her Starfish account, but also in her school email. And so it's a very automatic process, and faculty are able to fill out regular progress surveys. There's an automatic workflow where emails and messages are sent out, and then appropriate people are also contacted. So Raven's assigned advisor would be contacted, and if Raven, was a veteran, the veterans coordinator will also be contacted. So a number of people would be contacted who are connected with Raven, so we're kind of building this support network for each student.
So that's great. So every student could have a different support network based on their level of involvement in different clubs, activities, or just their student status, like you mentioned, as a veteran student or whatever. So students then have the opportunity to, and it's not just faculty who can reach out to students, but students can also initiate that contact on their end as well, right?
Yes, there's a feature, and I think we may have a slide for this, where students can raise their hand. There's a I need help feature. And sometimes it's hard for people to find, a specific person's email. They don't know who to contact. And so there's a few different options. I need help in a course, or I need help with an online course, or maybe you need help, with getting academic adjustments for documented disability. And those, once you raise your hand, that is sent to the appropriate person, and that person will then follow up with the student almost immediately. So again, it's just to make things a little bit more automated. Students don't have to search for contact information as well. They have they'll be able to see their My Success network. So again, all those people that are connected to that particular student, assigned advisor, faculty members, they can see those phone numbers and contact information very easily. I think you're showing something that is a chart that shows just how successful Starfish has been in our first year, and I think it's about 70% of faculty said that students actually contacted them once being notified that they are not showing up to class or whatever. Just about 70% of faculty said the students are actually saying, "Oh hey, I need to get in contact with you and fix this." So it is working, and again, sometimes technology doesn't it's not as successful sometimes as we think face-to-face is, but this is an example where technology actually supports the face-to-face, so it encourages the students to connect with faculty and other staff members.
That's great, and I can speak from my own experience. I've had faculty raise concerns, whether it be attendance or behavioral concerns, and something just seems not right, and it does go right to my email inbox, and I can have an immediate response and reach out to the student or contact the faculty member for some additional information as well. And that's great. I think just being able to provide that support in real time is number one, extremely valuable, but also something that our students will benefit from in the long run. So you actually answered one of my other questions, which was how did it work in terms of faculty's response to Starfish? But so when we rolled out this new package, faculty really bought in right off the bat, and them being involved is critical in the success of this program. So thank you to all of our Asnuntuck faculty for helping with that. But what's equally important too is that students can, like you showed the graphic, they can raise their hands and sort of ask for help. The other feature though, I think too was, it gives students the chance to, let me think here, to not only get, I hate to say negative feedback, but positive feedback as well, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, so it's not just, oh, hey, you missed an assignment or you didn't show up for class. There's also something called kudos. So you can say, you know, outstanding performance, or keep up the good work, or even showing improvement. So, and that's actually been a favorite feature of faculty.
Great.
You know, sometimes students may think, oh, faculty love to kind of give that negative feedback, but our faculty are really enjoying the kudos feature where you're, you know, showing that positive feedback. And I think you're showing a graphic right now too that faculty members really felt like Starfish was effective in helping them communicate with students more easily, and it was almost 80% of faculty felt like this really did help me communicate with students more effectively, whether it's providing students with a kudos, saying, hey, great job, or hey, you may need to check in with me because I think you're missing an assignment, or you know, your grade might be a little off and you need to connect with me. So it's just a great communication tool, again, something to help students stay on track and keep connected with faculty and staff at Asnuntuck.
that's excellent, and it's really in line with the college's mission to offer a quality education in an accessible, affordable, and nurturing environment. So it, you know, a lot of people, like you mentioned, it may be difficult to use some of these features or get accustomed to using them when they were in the past maybe used to paper and pencil sort of things and other means of outreach. But having these programs has really obviously made a difference, and you know, thank you for both of you in terms of your efforts for getting these you know, off the ground and running. But what I think is really important now is to hear from one of our current students, and you know, so Raven Lopez, tell us about your experience, and not only as, well, first of all, tell us about your experience as a student at Asnuntuck. What brought you to the college?
I liked Asnuntuck because it was close. It was a cheaper alternative than, you know, going off to a university where I wasn't going to be able to have the contact with my family. And plus, it's a smaller community that I really, really enjoy because everybody's very nice. You can get all the help you need here.
Great, that's great. And you also have, you're an involved student, right? You're
Yes.
you're not just one of these people who come in and, you know, go to class and then leave, but you stay on campus and get involved in some other avenues as well, right?
Yes, I'm the president of AUW, which is the American Association of University Women, which focuses on women's empowerment.
Excellent.
I also volunteer at the pantry and run several donations through AUW.
Excellent, great. And as referenced earlier, you are one of the student workers in the Center for Advising and Student Achievement, the Advising Center, and you work closely with Jill, but you, more importantly, I guess, work closely with students who come into the office and want to figure out what classes do I take, you know, what is this degree requirement, what does it mean, and you kind of help navigate through some of these. So from your own experience, how has it been, first off, to use Starfish and use DegreeWorks as a student, but then what's it like sharing that information with other students and trying to teach them how to use it?
So personally, as a student, I really enjoy both of the programs because I like to know where I am at each point. That's how I stay focused, stay on topic, and stay ahead of the game.
Great.
So I really like DegreeWorks because it helps explain things to me in a way that I understand, where a lot of people don't really understand the abbreviations. You click on it, there's a definition, you know, classes that would work for it. It's really helpful where you just have more of an interactive thing, whereas the paper doesn't really explain everything you need to know.
Good point.
And then the Starfish program, I really enjoy that because a lot of, like my first semester, I didn't really have a lot of feedback. And the lack of feedback was where I got really nervous because, you know, at least if you have the negative feedback, you know you're not doing so well. And if you have the positive, then, you know, that's an extra boost to keep up what you're doing.
That's great. That's great.
And as a student worker, I think it's really cool being able to teach other students this stuff, because I want them to have the advantages that I have, because not everybody can run to Jill and be like, hey, I need help. They don't have the contact information for everything that they need.
Right.
So Starfish really does help with helping them navigate all the resources that are available to them here.
That's great. And you bring up a good point there, and that's that how do we spread the word to it. So I'll ask you, and hopefully not put you on the spot, but in speaking for all of your peers, but how can we do a better job, or what can we do to get the word out to students about these great programs?
I think for incoming students, we just need to keep reinforcing and just advertising that these programs do exist, and helping show them what they are, because for a lot of people, technology can be kind of scary and intimidating, but the programs are easy to use and they're really convenient. So, as many people who can use them should use them.
That's great. Yeah, and there is a national push to, and to look at, and here's a picture of you actually working with it right there. There's Ravenheart at work. But there is this national push towards creating what they call guided pathways, right? And it's a movement to sort of make sure that students, as they're onboarding, for lack of a better term, but starting the college career, will have the sort of entire program mapped out for them, so they know what to expect, what degree requirements are ahead of them, so they know this is a starting point, but I can see the finish line there. And Diane, I know this has been something that is, I can imagine DegreeWorks will help very much with that, greatly with that, as we kind of get more into using it.
Absolutely.
But one of my favorite features in DegreeWorks, let's kind of jump around here, but is that there's that status bar, right? So students can see visually as they log into DegreeWorks, what percentage, the progress bar towards completing their degree requirements. But I imagine as we move forward towards looking at course sequencing, as you mentioned earlier, and really mapping out schedules for students, full-time, part-time, degree sequences, being able to use DegreeWorks is going to be instrumental in that. So that's great. Maybe just ask you all, if you don't mind, or Jill, I'll just turn to you real quick, in terms of, these are products that will help with, as we mentioned before, student retention, which means they keep coming, to keep students coming back year after year, semester after semester. What do you view as the director of advising are the biggest challenges to student retention?
I think that's a big question.
Sure.
But and there's a lot of answers to that, but I think my experience, I've found that often students end up stopping out or not attending classes and because of a lack of motivation. And sometimes when you don't see that end goal, or you don't have a light at the end of the tunnel, some students get very unmotivated and think, I'm just going to skip class today, or this doesn't really matter. So there has to be some kind of purpose. And I think when you come to college, sometimes people feel like it's a thing to do. Mom and dad are making me, or everybody else is going to college, but really, why are you going, and what is the purpose? And so again, if you do have a support network that's going to help you, we also will help students that are unsure of what they're doing. We have career guidance and academic advising, and then again we have those tools to help you then figure out how to get there. So DegreeWorks and then Starfish, so that you have a support network to support you along the way. But just being motivated toward that end goal, and I think we're really striving to put that structure in place to kind of have a runway so students can see the way.
Excellent. And excuse me. We talked a little bit before about the rollout and getting people more involved in this, and you both, you've done a great job too with trying to get faculty kind of acknowledging their participation and making certificates for them, and kind of as a way to sort of promote people to get more involved in using Starfish, and that's a really unique way. And you're both hosting information sessions for faculty and students, I believe, to be able to understand how to operate or use these to the best of their ability, so that's great. are there any other, what are the next steps with these tools, or how can we, further help students in the future using these? Do you know any suggestions?
Well, DegreeWorks does have one more feature that we're going to be rolling out within the next year called the Transfer Articulation Tool, and it will allow students who are prospective students to come in, take a look at how credits they may have earned somewhere else might fit into an Asnuntuck program, even before they enroll with us.
That's fantastic. So, and I think our admissions office already is sort of, as they're communicating with students who transfer credits in, I think you may have referenced this in the beginning, but before they used to be able to just send them an evaluation of what courses are coming in, but now they see specifically where those classes are applied through using a printout of the degree audit through DegreeWorks as well. So,
and they can do that for multiple majors as well. So
that's
they can
great.
look at a couple of different programs and decide how their credits fit best.
Okay, that's great. So if I'm a liberal arts major and I want to say what would be the implication of me switching to becoming an early childhood education student, I would be able to do that what if scenario or analysis and see that, my favorite feature, that progress bar change. So you really kind of know the implication of making a big decision like that, of changing your program.
Yeah, Raven might be 80% of the way to her liberal arts degree, but only 30% of the way to her early childhood
Great,
degree. Yes.
great. That's good information to have, so that's great. Okay, well, I think we're just about out of time, and I want to thank you all for being here. For taking time out of your day and to be here and talk about these fantastic programs. And Raven, again, thank you for your involvement as a student at the college, but as a student leader as well in all that you do. You are a shining example of some of the best and brightest at the college. So if you have any, or to our viewers out there, if you have any interest in seeing some of the changes that I referenced earlier in terms of the new construction at the college, or you want to stop by and chat with one of us about some of these new programs, our door is always open to you, and we welcome you to come in, and so please take advantage of that. But thank you for checking in with us and watching tonight. We hope that you continue to stay tuned and see all the new exciting things and changes that are happening at the college. And again, thank you for watching tonight, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Take care.
Asnuntuck Community College, a college so close it can take you so far. Asnuntuck Community